Hey everyone, and welcome back to a very special episode of Planet Coaster 2 and the Hanseatic Dreamland. Today we are building together with the brand new AI of Google, Gemini 2.0, which can actually help me in-game. More about that later. But first of all, last episode we built this beautiful go-karts track over here. You can see a lot of things have been happening in the last episode, and at the end of today's episode we are going to look into the member screen, which is exactly here and there, where the members will be on a timing leaderboard. But first of all, let's quickly talk about the sponsor of our channel, which is Instant Gaming. And as you should know by now, you can get wonderful game keys to a very great value on this platform. They have a wonderful customer support, it's super reliable, and they always have very cool campaigns with crazy values and some very cool, discounts. And also you can find DLCs and even in-game currency, such as like PlayStation money, Xbox money, whatever, even discounter on that. So make sure to check out the link in the description and find the games, DLCs, or whatever you need. So let's jump back into the game. So today we are talking about this area in specific and a second area. What we're going to do is we're going to utilize the interior here, and we're going to build a backstage area for our staff members, putting some staff rooms in, making sure that they have some backstage elements in here. And for that, I'm just going to bring in Google Gemini Real-Time Assistant. You will be hearing the wonderful Google Assistant in a second, and I'm going to bring this in right over here. If you don't know what exactly this is, we're going to talk to the Google AI Studio, which can actually access your screen as well. So as you will be hearing in a second, I'm going to start talking now to the assistant. Hey there, Gemini. So, you are basically in my recording for a YouTube video, and we are in a game. Can you figure out which game that is?
The game in the video appears to be Planet Coaster. Is that correct?
That is correct. So, today I want you to help me with building a backstage area. So I need you to help me figure out what is exactly important for backstage areas in theme parks. Let's begin with a very simple task. Can you see this spot over here and tell me what we could do for an improvement?
Okay, I see the spot you're referring to, which is enclosed by a brick wall, a large gray building, and a fence. It appears to be an open area with a few scattered objects. To improve the space, perhaps you could add more items that would be typical in a backstage area of a theme park, like tool storage or maintenance equipment. Is that the kind of feedback you're looking for?
Yes, exactly. And also what we can find over here is a hall, and there is obviously something from a coaster. Can you figure out what exactly this is from the coaster?
The track you are showing in the hall seems to be the lift hill portion of a roller coaster.
Is
that accurate?
Nah, that's not correct. Have a look again. What do you figure is this?
That track looks like it's part of the brake run for the coaster. Is that right?
That is right. So let's start with a very simple thing. What could be added here to make the brake run be more realistic?
Certainly, to enhance the realism of the brake run, you could add things like brake fins or magnetic brakes that engage with the train, and sensor lights or other automated systems. Would those be useful in your design?
I guess there were. So also what I figure we could do is like a kind of power box somewhere over here, right?
A power box could certainly add to the realism of the backstage area. Are there any other details you'd like to consider for this space?
Well, actually I want you to tell me. So this is an indoor section, and I want to have some staff rooms over here as well. But to make this area feel more like a backstage area, tell me about items that we could place here. I want to first of all put some placeholders down.
Okay, to create a realistic backstage staff area, you could add items like lockers, a staff break room with vending machines, a desk with a computer, and maybe a bulletin board. Would those items fit the theme you're envisioning?
Yeah, exactly. So let's start by doing a couple of things you just said. Let's start with some wonderful vending machines, I guess, right? Where would you put them?
Considering it's a backstage area, the vending machines would fit well near the staff rooms, so they would be accessible for breaks. Does that seem like a good placement?
Yeah, but we do have an issue. Let me show you. Maybe you can figure out what the issue is. So this is a large staff room I'm going to place over here, all right? So I'm going to put this large staff room over here. Can you figure out what the problem is?
Certainly. It looks like the staff building is clipping into the existing wall structure. This would need to be corrected by either moving the staff building or modifying the wall. Would you like help with that placement?
I was actually referring to vending machine. Like, what do you think would happen if we put the vending machine in here? That's just a barren black space, isn't it?
Oh, I understand. Placing the vending machine inside the staff building would cause it to disappear into the dark interior because the building is currently just a hollow shell. Is there anything else that you would like to discuss about this?
I want you to elaborate on more things that we can place in this area. While you will be elaborating, I'm gonna put some pathing down here so we can start moving from on over here, okay? Okay, right. So at this point, Google was just jumping out. I mean, it's still a very early beta, but I'm gonna bring back Google in a second. I'm just gonna figure out, first of all, our pathing down here. So we do have a bit of a path base available. So it is kind of impressive that you can have this interact with your screen, even though it seems like the database of Google is relatively old. I asked it before if it is capable of telling me which game it is. So it did tell us it's Planet Coaster. However, and this is something very weak, they do not know that there is a Planet Coaster 2 seemingly at this point, which is a bit weird because it's not like that it's super new or anything like that. But yeah, let's get back Google because I want to actually ask a couple more things. So let's share the screen again. It's relatively simple. You just share the screen and then all of a sudden Google should be back. Are you back, Google?
It appears you are asking if Google is back, but I am not sure what you mean.
Can you give
Google?
me some more? Aren't you Google or who are you?
I am a large language model, trained by Google. Do you have any other questions for me?
Yeah, I want to know, how shall I call you?
You can call me Gemini. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Absolutely. So we were earlier talking about theme parks and backstage areas, and I want your help on making this area over here more realistic. So this is a backstage area. We have the problem that this house is just a block and we're going to put some stuff in front of it. Tell me what type of material I should use to make sure this one looks nicer.
Okay, you want to make the backstage area more realistic. To make the structure look nicer, you could consider using a material that matches the surrounding buildings, such as brick, concrete, or wood. You could also add some details such as doors, windows, or pipes to make it look more like a functional backstage area. Would you like me to elaborate more on any of these options?
Just look around and tell me what material I should use considering the context of this area here.
Okay, considering the industrial context of the area, with the large concrete walls and metal structures, you could use metal panels or corrugated steel for the exterior of the building to match the aesthetic. Would you like me to provide additional options?
Yeah, have a look what I'm using and tell me if this is the correct material, and also tell me about some more details that we can use. And please be more specific. Don't use the obvious ones. I want to have specific details about backstage areas that you may not find so commonly.
Okay, the aquatic corrugated wall you've chosen is a good fit for the industrial aesthetic of the area. As for specific details to add to a backstage area that aren't obvious, you could include things like strategically placed tool cabinets and storage shelves with slightly messy arrangements, perhaps with a few visible paint cans or rolled up tarps to suggest a working environment. You could also add things like exposed piping or ventilation systems on the exterior of the structure, maybe a worn sign or two or a fire extinguisher to show that the area is used and maintained. Additionally, an access door with a visible lock or padlock can contribute to the backstage feel, and an out-of-place item such as a broom or bucket could be placed near the entrance, giving the impression that the area is in use, but also not perfectly organized. Does any of that sound like what you are looking for?
This actually is all very nice. So what you just said, we're gonna put a couple of placeholders in. So earlier you also said that we should have some vending machines, which is exactly what I'm doing first of all, just to be able to have those in. However, do you know the problem? Like, we don't have all these pieces you just named in-game. If I do show you the pieces, can you tell me what potentially we could use to create some of the stuff, like the lockers or for the fire extinguisher or other stuff?
Yes, I can certainly help with that. Based on what you've shown, you could use the aquatic metal beveled wall piece to create lockers, the aquatic pipe piece for exposed piping or ventilation details, and the aquatic storage crate for creating shelves with storage boxes. You could also utilize aquatic window pieces as a fire extinguisher, and the plaster column pieces for broom-like items, or even door locks or handles, depending on the orientation. Would you like me to explore any of these options in more detail, or suggest additional items?
Actually, you see the items on screen. I want you to really tell me if you spot something that is usable. We're gonna throw this down now. So I like your suggestion of these crates. I'm just gonna bring them down. Also, you may want to know that we are able to scale pieces in this game. So maybe that's a hint we can use.
Okay,
Are you
see.
confused?
No, I am not confused. I understand that you are placing items for a backstage area and scaling them for effect, and that you are showing me pieces to see what I think. Is there something specific you would like me to help you with?
Well, you also said earlier we can use some tarp. I found these pieces over here, the drapes. Maybe we can use them. What kind of color would tarps typically be? Alright, so Google just jumped out again. But I guess for the for the effect, that's already enough. I wanted to make this test today to see how AI or like these large language voice models can help you with the game. I mean, obviously, it's something that is not too super, exciting today because backstage areas are something rather obvious to find. What we're gonna do now is one last test because I want to have Gemini also help me with the overall layout of the park and what to put in certain areas. Now let's do this as a last little test, and the reason, by the way, why I don't have anything else prepared for today is because I had a very busy week and I wanted to start with this backstage area, which I will do relatively soon, but the announcement of the Western set in the next pack is also kind of holding me back from doing more because I'm so excited for this pack. Anyways, let's bring in Google for the last time and have a little look what we can achieve with coasters and stuff like that. Hey there, Gemini. I want you to be my help person, my supporter basically, in building a theme park in a game. This is obviously Planet Coaster, as you may have figured, and I want you to help me with the layout of this coaster over here and, help me judge it and what we could improve.
Okay, so you would like me to help you with your Planet Coaster theme park, specifically by judging the layout of the coaster. Is that right?
That is right.
Okay, I see the coaster goes around a lake and then next to some buildings. What do you think needs to be improved?
Well, you tell me. Let's have a look. I'm gonna first of all fly over here and show you the layout. So basically, from this view, what do you think, what type of coaster is this?
Okay, from the view you showed, it looks like the coaster is a type of launch coaster with a straight launch section that goes up a hill, with a combination of indoor and outdoor sections. Do you agree with my assessment of what the coaster looks like?
Not quite. Have a look again and judge it by the type of the track, which manufacturer that may be.
Okay, I see the coaster now. Looking at the track, it's a lift hill using a chain mechanism. So, would you say it is a traditional lift hill coaster?
It definitely is. You just tell me, what do you think, what type of manufacturer could build such a type of coaster?
Based on the design and the use of a chain lift hill, it appears to be a traditional roller coaster manufactured by companies like Bolliger and McGilliger, or maybe a similar manufacturer like Great Coasters International. Do you agree?
Actually, it is Bolliger Maberat, so you just said. I guess your pronunciation was just a bit surprising for me. And judging by the size of this and the first elements, what type of coaster do you think is this?
Okay, so now that we have established that it is a Bolliger and Mabillard coaster and I can see its first elements, I would say that this is a B and M hypercoaster. Does that sound right?
That is correct. Now, as you have a good view of the elements, please judge the layout so far.
Okay, looking at the layout of the B and M hypercoaster, I see that it goes around a lake and has a couple of curved hills with some airtime. It looks like a classic hypercoaster layout, which should be enjoyable for the park guests. Is there anything specific that you'd like me to focus on regarding the layout, like the pacing of the ride or the placement of elements?
Yes, if you have a look at this area over here, what will you say is the pacing of the coaster? And also I want you to tell me how we can improve the interaction with the parking lot over here.
Okay, I can help you with that. Looking at the pacing of the coaster, it appears to have a consistent flow with a good mix of hills and curves. As for the interaction with the parking lot, it looks like there are several blue buses in the parking lot, and that could be used as the main entrance to the park. I also noticed that the coaster goes around the parking lot area. Is that something you'd like to change?
No, it's actually fine that it goes around, but as you can tell, there are no supports over here. Realistically, how could we do this to make use of the house, maybe the building and the sidewalk over here to create some custom supports?
Okay, I understand. So you're looking to make the coaster more realistic by adding supports, and you want to use the building and sidewalk in the area as a way to create custom supports. That sounds like a great idea, and it will add a unique touch to your design. Do you have any specific ideas on how you would use those elements to make the supports?
Actually, I'm gonna build the support now, and I want you to jump in if I do anything wrong here, okay?
Okay, I'm ready to jump in if you need my input. Just let me know when you have something to show me.
I'm building on screen, and I want you to tell me if there is a mistake.
Okay, I see the support you're placing. It looks like you're trying to position it underneath the coaster track. The support is perpendicular to the track and is floating slightly above the sidewalk. Is that your intention, or do you want to make adjustments?
Have a look at it. Would it work like this realistically?
Okay, I see the adjustment you made. The support is now touching the ground, but it still looks like it is floating slightly above the sidewalk and doesn't appear to be directly connected to the building. Realistically, it should connect to the building or have a foundation on the ground. Is that what you were going for?
Yes, but have a look what happens now with the coaster. What's the problem here?
Okay, I see that the coaster car is passing through the support you created. That's because the support you added is intersecting with the coaster track itself. To make it work correctly, the support needs to be placed underneath or on the side of the track, not directly in its path.
Perfect.
Does that make sense?
This is exactly what I was referring to. So let me just quickly build the support, and then I want you to tell me if that also works static-wise. So we are placing this now in a way that we have these main iron guiders or coaster supports like this, but I want to obviously have a foundation, as you just said. So do you think that a foundation of this size over here would be sufficient enough to keep this thing steady, even during high loads? All right, it seems like Gemini again didn't really want to give us the info I wanted it to be. But I guess, you know, for testing reasons, this can be very helpful. If you're not too much into coasters and if you haven't really learned too much about this, this can be of a great help to, you know, improve your coaster building skills and so on. You could definitely tell that you need to push Gemini into the direction you want to, which, you know, apparently seems to be something you need to consider. But if you are on a point or like at a moment where you have it where you wanted it to be, I'm very, very happy. Besides, the two things we just discussed, for me personally, were already relatively helpful, because obviously the thing about the backstage, I wasn't really thinking about vending machines, even though it was the most obvious call. So sometimes it can also be just helpful in order to assess certain things. So yeah, in general, I think, you know, I won't be using this in videos anymore, but I guess sometimes building stuff would be very nice. Maybe one last thing I want to try. Hold on. I feel like we could, but I think if there is, maybe we have to, okay, hold on. I need to have a specific theme or something like that that I want to judge it. I want to show you how you can actually improve upon designs maybe. Okay, let's use the ship for that. Oh, by the way, because you guys were asking for that. Oh my god, I'm not sure why it is lagging so much right now over here. Okay, so it seems like something is happening in the background. Maybe it's because of the browser. Anyhow, what I did do for you guys, I created a blueprint that you all wanted to have. And this is, where is it? It shall be somewhere in here. Is that only my blueprints or the overall blueprints? Or is it just custom frontier workshop? No, hold on, these are the blueprints, but didn't I say ship? Okay, I'm not sure where it is. I will then eventually give you the code, but I was able to create a blueprint of this because this game has the issue at the moment, apparently, that it seems to be able to create blueprints of like how many pieces you ever want. Anyhow, so let's quickly talk about this ship with Google and then afterwards call it a day. I find it still very interesting. So, show Gemini. Hold on. No. I wanna do it that way. There you go. Hey Gemini, can you see the ship in front of me?
Yes, I can see the ship in front of you. It looks like a cruise ship with a black hull and a white superstructure. It also appears to have some water slides on its deck. Is there anything specific you'd like to know about it?
Yes, I want you to judge this ship and specifically point out issues in the design.
Okay, I will judge the ship and point out issues in its design. Based on the image, the water slides on the deck seem oddly placed, as they don't really integrate well with the overall structure of the cruise ship and look like an afterthought. Additionally, the black color of the hull seems a bit outdated for a modern cruise ship. Would you like me to elaborate on anything in particular?
Of course, specifically the color is interesting. What type of color would be used on a modern ship?
A modern cruise ship often features lighter colors such as white, light gray, or pastel shades, often with some vibrant accent colors. These colors tend to reflect sun.
Why is that? Why do we use the brighter colors? Is there a reason for that?
Brighter colors on a cruise ship can enhance its visibility at sea, contributing to safety. Also, lighter colors reflect more sunlight, which can help to keep the ship cooler and more energy efficient. Additionally, lighter colors tend to be seen as more modern and aesthetically pleasing for a cruise ship. Would you like me to elaborate on any of these aspects?
So would you say if I'm gonna go for like a, let's say light blue like this, is that better?
Yes, the light blue color on the hull would be a much better choice for a modern cruise ship. It is more visually appealing and aligns with current trends in ship design. Would you like me to suggest any other colors?
I want to have like actually a color that would be a good contrast to it. You said you would have some, accent colors. What would be a proper accent color?
Since the ship is now light blue, you could use a vibrant color like a deep red or a bright yellow as accent colors. These would create a visually appealing contrast. Alternatively, if you prefer something more subtle, you could consider using dark gray or navy blue. Would you like me to help you apply one of these colors?
Yes, how do I do this?
Okay, it appears you're in the edit mode. To apply an accent color, first you'll need to select the specific part of the ship you want to color. After that, look for the color palette, select the desired accent color from it, and then confirm the selection. Do you need more guidance on how to select specific areas?
Give me a suitable hash code for a very bright neon yellow you find suitable.
Okay, a suitable hash code for a neon yellow would be hashtag FOO. Oh, would you like to try this one?
That is white, my friend.
I apologize, I gave you the wrong color code. Hashtag FOO is a bright yellow. If you would like a white color, the hash code is hashtag FFFF. Would you like to proceed with this color?
This is again white. Why aren't you able to tell me the right code? Let's have a look.
In the color picker tool, it is now showing the white color with the hashtag FF code. What would you like me to? Okay, a common hash code for a pure yellow is hashtag FFFOO.
I can, even though the game is lagging right now and I have no idea what's happening, but let's have a little look if we can apply that. Like, you can see that we now have white as an accent color to the ground. Would you also think white is suitable?
No, white would not be a suitable accent color for a light blue ship. It would blend in too much with the base color and not provide the needed contrast. Would you like me to suggest other accent colors?
No, I'm just going to try your FFOO version now and see what that is. Okay, so it all goes back to this color. If you have a look, this is what yellow says. Like, I can't really pick any specific color right now, but if we go for a neon yellow that I would have been happy with, it's that code over here. Can you read it out loud, please?
Certainly, the hex code you have selected is hashtag 1FAO2.
All right, now provide me with a neon pink hex code.
Okay, a hex code for a neon pink would be hash FF10F0.
That is correct. Finally, you got it. Okay, cool. Now, let's go to a neon yellow green and provide me with a hex code.
Okay, a hex code for a neon yellow dash green is hash C0FF3E.
C0FF3. Let's have a look what that goes. All right, that's kind of... Wait, did I do something wrong over here? C0... I can't type anything in right now. I guess it's a problem with the game, but let's have a look if we can get here. Apparently the game seems to be not doing what we want it to be, but yeah, I'm gonna use this one. What do you think of this color? All right, so apparently, and I don't want to blame Google too much, I think this is the crazy congestion issue we have over here that is causing the insane lag over here. As soon as we're back in the park, it's all good. But I think you got the idea. It is all a bit finicky, you know, I do admit it's not the most smoothest way of doing it right now. But apparently it does help, as you can see with the designs, and I will certainly use it, even though I didn't want to make the ship different. It was a very specific choice to go for the colors we went, so let's just undo that. And all the other things you will be seeing in the very next episode, and hopefully we do something with the Western theme very soon as the game drops. This backstage area over here, by the way, is something I was considering for a longer time, so maybe, I'm not sure how much time I will be able to have tonight, but maybe I'm gonna build this backstage area tonight, specifically for this area over here. We are going to have some vending machines just here nearby the buildings, just like for our staff members. And I found the ideas that go pretty decent. The idea to have like tarps and stuff over maybe pallets and so on is something I didn't really think about. And what I will do is I will create a couple of modules that I will also upload to the workshop, so you guys will have the chance also to download them yourself. And what I'm also going to try is to make sure that we have some backstage like seating options for our staff members. I mean, sure enough, we could use the normal benches and so on, but I really want to make sure that they have all the options available. So this is a large staff room. We can also see, let's have a look into the staff facilities. My God. So staff facility in here. So we have a staff room, mechanic workshop, staff building. You know what? We can actually have a mechanic workshop that goes all the way underneath this one over here. I assume is a good placement. Is it though? No, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna place this here. Can I place this here? I feel like the idea is to... I'm not sure if this is gonna work, but... yeah... maybe that's a cool idea to just kind of fake the entrance to the lower part. Like, I think this is kind of cool. If we hide this away, it almost is like as if they would go in here to maintain the coaster. I feel like that's a pretty cool idea to fake some realism. And apparently we will then also enable this one becoming the entrance. You know, what we're going to do is, first of all, get rid of some of the stuff already. And so this is going to be the entrance. Not sure if... hold on. I'm going to say... guest, and then we have a guest here. Oh yeah, size-wise, that's more than enough. Okay, cool. Guys, this was it for today's video. I do admit that this is a bit of a different one, but I wanted to try that and showcase to you, because apparently I got so many questions where to get inspiration from, and the evil AI in this case can be of a good use, even though, as always, you should take the info with a grain of salt. Some of the stuff they say is apparently wrong, and you need to push it in certain directions. But it's very cool to understand that they even are able to, you know, say that this is a hypercoaster and help you with the supportings and stuff. And, you know, it's a bit of a different way of doing it. Maybe you would be a bit more precise in the task that they should do, but it will be useful to consider it as a little bit of an advisor for you, and I feel like this is a pretty damn cool idea. I will certainly use that for Western designs and other kind of elements, and we're gonna see how this ends. Now, that was it from my side today. If you are in for some games and so on, as I said earlier, use the Instant Gaming linky in the description as always, and I'll be back very soon with you with some other games. I'm preparing another Planet Zoo build. I'm also looking into making a bit of a preview video to enjoy, because I'm super excited for that game coming out the 28th of March in early access, and then apparently for the 20th when we are finally having access to the Western set again. I can't wait. So, my god, let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this experiment. Would you think it's helpful for you? Again, if you want to try it out yourself, just go for aistudio.google.com. You can access this with a Google account, and then you can try it yourself. It's pretty damn cool to have it, and you can obviously also use it for studying and working and whatnot. Thank you so much for tuning in for today, and I'll talk to you in the next one.